Zach Wilson. So obviously we talked about in our, frequent Jets Gonna Jet segment that he was holding out and, essentially was had a dispute with the Jets over some of his contract language. They ultimately came to agreement a few days late to the start of training camp, but he's been there. He's apparently been struggling pretty bad. And he did have a good quote today. He was asked about it, and I thought he was being honest and not just saying words, which tends to happen from NFL quarterbacks. But, he mentioned how this is his opportunity to test what he can do. And the only way he can learn that he can't fit throws into certain windows at this level is by making them happen. And practice is the perfect place to do that. I don't disagree with him, but we also talked about before the draft post draft, before really OTAs and everything got started, that we thought that Zach was the one guy of this class that, not that he's not up there talent-wise with everybody, but might be mentally broken down easier than anybody else, and early struggles could really derail him and his Jets career. Do you think we should be?
He's in the biggest spotlight in New York City's market, or I guess northern New Jersey's market. And then the other thing is just his playing style. He played fast and loose, and at BYU, those windows were bigger. And so him finding out the windows that he can't hit right now, he's not used to having to try to fit it into a tight window. And now that he's finding out what he can't fit it into, I'm a little concerned about him regressing like a Tua did when you're too scared to take the chance. You've got to have complete separation to make that throw. And I mean, he's got Elijah Moore, so he might get a lot of separation. So that could work out just fine for him. But those, third down and shorts or those goal line situations are going to be tough when there's no over the top to take some of the defenders out of the box. And I think that's what, even though we had a better practice today, there were still quite a few questionable throws, and back to where we were on the Drew Lock, Teddy Bridgewater, those questionable throws are what kill you, right? His first pass of the session today should have been an interception. It wasn't, but if it was, or could have been, that's enough to kill a drive right there, right? And he killed a ton of drives on Saturday from all accounts, only led the offense to 3 points in their annual green versus white game. And that's concerning. Even as a rookie quarterback, first time out there, you got to be able to move the ball.
Yeah, and one of the other things that I think concerned me a little bit that I heard, and again, reps and time with the offense, and he missed a few days obviously with his contract stuff, but so maybe this all gets smoothed over, but he came from a system in BYU against lesser competition with a really good offensive line where he had all day to throw. And one of the things that was mentioned was that he was, even in 7-on-7, taking his sweet time back there. I know the Jets have invested in their offensive line a little bit, but that is not going to fly in the NFL. And the coaches had to pull him aside basically and tell him, we need you to pick up your pace going through reads and doing these things. So the only way to really get that experience is to play. But that being said, given everything we've talked about, should he be playing this week?
I'm worried about him getting broken by going out there and not being ready. I can completely see, let's see what Michael Carter has, and just keep handing the ball off for the first drive, whether or not it goes 3 and out or they get a couple first downs. Don't ask anything too much of them. But if I was them, I wouldn't give him the opportunity to get to 2 interceptions. If he gets to 2 interceptions, I'm worried about him completely breaking. So that means super cautious on the first drive, maybe a little bit more aggressive on the second drive, but go in just for his own mental, saying you're only getting 2 drives and we're not going to give you the opportunity to get 2 interceptions.
Yeah. I like that approach. We'll see what the Jets ultimately and Robert Saleh ultimately ends up doing. But he's definitely somebody to keep an eye on, because I agree with you. I think of all of these guys, he's the one that could be broken the way that we've seen them break Sam Darnold. It's just
And
kind of
I
what the
want to be
Jets do.
clear, this is not a shot at Zach Wilson in any way.
No.
It's that his pressures in that market are completely different. Chicago's been asking for a QB. I mean, Jay Cutler was definitely successful, but never got them to the precipice of anything. I guess you could say Rex Grossman got them to a Super Bowl if you want, but there hasn't
Hey,
been that
they went
true.
to the NFC Championship with Jay. Just saying.
They haven't had that true, okay, we feel like we have a franchise caliber quarterback. And so even if Justin Fields were to flame out, I don't think that it would be under the same pressure that a Jets quarterback is ultimately feeling, because they killed Sam Darnold, right? He's seeing ghosts out there,
Yeah.
and you got to hear about it on the front page and the back page of the New York Times anytime you fuck that up.
Yeah. And I think their situations are a little different too, in that, well, one, I will, I guess, disagree a little bit. I think there's a lot of pressure under any first round quarterback that comes into Chicago. But Justin Fields played on the biggest stage his entire college career. He played in one of the biggest programs, and he's about as even keeled as it gets. So I agree. I don't think he is necessarily going to be broken by the weight of the expectations. Zach Wilson remains to be seen.